Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to previously known as Bad Thought Studios. I am rebranding back to Tones TV. For those who don't know, I do a lot of movie and TV show reviews. Today, we are reviewing Disclosure by Jay Sherer. You wrote it, you directed it, you filmed it, and we're going to talk about it on here. And I got OG 55 joining me today. We're going to talk and deep dive about Disclosure. So, Jay, thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for allowing us to watch this and get your kind of ideas on what was going through your head while writing this. So I appreciate it.
Hey, it's my pleasure to be here. It's always fun talking to you guys, and since you haven't seen it, I can't wait to see your reaction to it.
Yes, I'm excited, and we've done no vacancy reaction and stuff like that, and this is going to be another live reaction. I have not seen it on purpose. It came out on the November 1st.
November 1st, yep.
November 1st. So I want to get my full reaction to it and give you my thoughts. And but yeah, so OG, thank you for joining me, brother. If you could tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you boys. On Tones TV. I appreciate you, Tones. Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, talking theme park, studio, corporate, all that good stuff. I got Tones on my channel all the time. I got Mr. Jay Sherer on there all the time. So just talking about all that nerdy good stuff all the time. You can also find me on Instagram. I drew a blank. Instagram, Orange Grove 55. And you can also find me on TikTok, Orange Grove 55.
That's still weird to hear because you're never on TikTok.
I'm never on TikTok. I have an account, but
yes. And I'll leave that in the description below. So make sure you guys go give OG a follow. Jay Sherer, also, if you could tell people where they could find you before we get started and where they can also find the movie.
Yeah, so you can find everything I do plus the movie on How Stories Work with Jay Sherer. That channel is mainly has two different functions. One function is me trying to understand films better so that I can make better films, and so I'm just documenting that process. So I did a video the other day on the Sicario border crossing scene and how Denis Villeneuve shoots that scene and how well it's shot. That's the kind of thing you can find over there. But you can also find Disclosure. I got the poster up here behind my big head so you cannot see it, but you can find Disclosure over there. And then in January, No Vacancy has finally finished its festival run. They don't like you to show it on YouTube while it's on most festivals, but it's finished now on the festival run, so it'll be up on that channel probably in late January.
Perfect. And a huge congratulations on all the awards you've won. What are you at now? How many awards?
I think we're at 12. To be honest with you, it's this sounds like a totally douchey thing to say. I've kind of lost track because it's been doing as well as it has. And you can just get emails all the time saying like, "Oh, I did this, I did that," or whatever. But yeah, I think it's at 12 now awards, and I think it's gotten nominations around the 18 to 20 range. And it's been in about 24 different festivals, I believe. So yeah, it had a great run. We were super stoked about it. I had no idea it would do that well, but yeah, it's been a huge blessing.
Huge congratulations, bro. Huge. Now, real quick before we get into Disclosure, what now with No Vacancy? What's
what
your
happens
plan?
next?
Yes.
Yeah. So since No Vacancy is a proof of concept film, the next goal, I have a pitch deck, and the next goal is to find people to pitch it to. I'm also looking for representation. So I'm looking for an agent. An agent is somebody who can help you get meetings set up to pitch to folks. So yeah, we're trying to get the feature film made. The feature film is called The Harlequin, and it's related. It's in the same universe. In fact, No Vacancy is a prequel to The Harlequin. So we're going to try to get that made. But I also have a pitch deck for the feature film of Disclosure. So I've got plenty of things to pitch, and so I'll be pitching all of those things throughout 2026.
Well, the offer still stands. If you need a coffee boy to run while you guys are filming, I'd love to do it.
Only if you agree to leave a Starbucks cup on the table.
100%. 100. And I'll blame Emilia Clarke for it too.
There you go. There it is.
But yeah, guys, I will leave all the No Vacancy info at the end. You guys can check out the videos we did previously on this channel for No Vacancy, and once it is released, you guys can go check it out on your own. And it's a beautiful short film. You guys have to go check it out. But Disclosure, Jay, Disclosure. Before we get started, tell us just a little bit about it before we actually watch it, and what what it was going through your head, why you made this short film.
Yeah, so Disclosure is about Audrey Draco, and Audrey Draco is trying to figure out which of the 6 people that she's interviewing really knows the truth. And so that's what we're kind of watching play out during the film. And what was going through my head was I was listening to a lot of podcasts from ufologists and UFO researchers and UFO and alien abductees, and even people who don't think it's UFOs, right? People who think it's angels and demons and these kind of things. I think I've listened to probably like, I don't know, I mean, multiple dozens of hours of podcasts about that. And so I was just thinking about all of the conflict that happens in those viewpoints, right? Like I was listening to a guy one time, this is on the Danny Jones podcast. I wish I could remember the guest's name, but he was like, you know what, Danny, there's just so much BS out there about aliens. People will be saying that there's 12 species of aliens. That's just BS, Danny. There's like 140 species of aliens. And I was like, I thought he was going to say that there was no such thing as alien. So the different viewpoints are fascinating. Absolutely. And they inherently create lots of conflict because we all want to know, and none of us really truly know. And so we listen to these people and we kind of go like, should I trust them? Should I not trust them? And that was just percolating in my mind. And so I said, you know what? I think I can turn this into a movie.
Absolutely. And all the things that are coming out as far as UFOs for the United States actually announcing that there is UFOs and actually admitting that. So this is a perfect timing because people love this stuff. People fall in love with UFOs. I see the one thing that I think people kind of come to the conclusion that UFO automatically means aliens. Right. It just means that it's unidentified. Like we don't know what it is. Totally. So I mean, it could be nothing out there that we that we know of, but I think there's something out there. But there people always think, oh, it's alien, man. Probably sometimes, but most of the time it's freaking people trying to be clever and flying in our airspace. Yeah. But OG, real quick before we get started, what is your thoughts when it comes to UFOs? Like, do you believe there's something out there? What's your thoughts?
100%, dude. 100%. Okay. I think it's mathematically impossible with how big the universe is that there is no other life anywhere else out there, that this little tiny planet relative to the universe has nothing else. Yep. There's definitely life on other planets. There's probably a whole planet with dinosaurs still roaming around. There's probably another planet with human beings like us. There's probably other planets with crazy looking people, look nothing like us, but they're out there. Now, have they visited us? That's a whole nother discussion. I mean, I've seen a lot on the news lately about Three Eye Atlas, right? If that's or not. There was a report the other day that and again, a lot of the stuff you don't know what's true and what's not. Yeah. There was a report the other day that there's like hundreds of UFOs off the coast underwater, like in this underwater base. It's pretty sick, which actually kind of makes a lot of sense, right? Because you always hear about these UFOs that like go over the ocean and then they go under and then you don't see them. Yep. So it wouldn't surprise me if like aliens kind of took shop under like in the deepest parts of our ocean, because our oceans too have largely been unexplored. A lot of the deeper stuff can't get to, right? So you never know. Yep.
If they search too deep, they won't be coming back. So I think the same thing. I think there's something out there. I think the water thing is very interesting because we can search the sky so far until we get to outer space, but once we go the opposite direction, there's only a certain distance we can go down. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're down there right now. So guys, this is Disclosure. How long is this, by the way?
It's about 15 minutes, and then it's got credits, so about 17 overall.
Let's rock and roll. Here we go. Disclosure.
That's like my old art teacher.
Where would you like to start?
I propose we open with the little green man.
UFOs and the associated paranormal phenomena? I don't know, it's a very broad topic.
Are you a Catholic, miss?
I'm only here because the top brass sent me a nasty gram when I declined the first time. So you tell me.
I've tracked down information that many people find uncomfortable, but sometimes the truth is uncomfortable.
Wouldn't it be easier if you just point me in the right direction?
Pretend I don't know anything.
Right. Well, I think we have to conclude that the US government is lying to us.
What I know is classified.
How about the preponderance of evidence among witness testimony? Do you know how reliable witness testimony is? It isn't. So what do I know? I know that UFO experiencers are, to put it bluntly, unreliable.
Several species of extraterrestrial life forms have visited Earth. I possess documents alluding to 4 known species, but I believe there may be many more, quite possibly as many as a dozen.
I know a lot, but I'm more interested in what I don't know. Like who you are and how you got my number.
Do you believe in God?
Why don't we pronounce the K in knowledge?
What?
Because we haven't acknowledged it yet. Captain Hawkins used to tell me that joke every time I look the way you look right now.
Super helpful. I'm not getting anywhere.
Not yet.
We're running out of time.
Isn't that the human condition?
If you're trying to make me feel better, it's not working.
I've got bad news, Audrey. It's always like this.
Send in the next one.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to need evidence. Details, please.
According to the people that I've interviewed, the trustworthy sources, not so much the kooky ones, the most compelling evidence I've found is in crash retrieval.
Evidence? There is none. And that's the problem, isn't it? I mean, Joe Schmo claims he's been abducted. Batty Betty says she saw a flying saucer. Sure. How was their eyesight? Were they drug tested? Hypnotized? Perhaps they were just paranoid schizophrenics. The point is, there is no hard evidence.
Here is a summary of my research, starting with Operation Overcast and Paperclip. At the close of World War II, the Nazis had exceptional avionics, rocketry, and other advanced propulsion concepts, including anti-gravity. What the U.S. did not get, the Soviets did. I've included related topics, remote viewing, crash retrieval, and a secret mind control project, MK. Okay. MK Ultra. All of these projects were inspired by Nazi scientists. So the question then becomes, how did the Germans make these technological leaps?
Don't go sticking your nose in where it don't belong, lady. What is this, some kind of congressional oversight bullshit? Well, it's a waste of time and money, especially mine. In case I haven't been clear, let me just say it again. It's classified. You do know what classified means, right?
They sparkled like topaz, and all 4 looked alike. Each was made to look like a wheel, intersecting a wheel. As they moved, they would go in any one of the 4 directions the creatures faced. Their rims were high and awesome. and all 4 rims were full of eyes all around. Does that sound familiar?
Who else are you meeting with?
No major world power, that includes the Vatican, has been forthcoming with disclosure. Why be vague?
Let me be anything but. Just because you went to college instead of getting a ring on your pretty little finger does not entitle you to information that I will not give to the President of the United States.
Why do any of us employ deception? Because it benefits us to do so. We use deception to give ourselves an advantage. You look at nature. Deception is practically a tenet of biological evolution. Now ask yourself this: what benefit can be derived from this deception?
I have 2 theories. One, they believe that disclosure could cause the thin fabric of society to tear. That every human might live under ever-present fear of an alien invasion. This could give way to anarchy. Traditional structures of power, influence, and control could all be uprooted, but the more likely reason, point number 2, is the alien technologies that they have discovered provide them with a competitive advantage, money, power, perhaps even superior cognitive abilities.
The Catholic Church has as many arms as a tangle of octopuses, and even more viewpoints. But we do believe in the paranormal. Yes? We see the demon-possessed. We hear the stories of miracles every day. Those who do not have a faith label these as ghosts and ghouls and goblins and aliens. But we know these beings. Extraterrestrials, indeed, but not from other planets. Scripture has given us names for these entities, as they were also created by our Heavenly Father.
Maybe they don't know the answer. Or maybe they don't want anybody else to know the answer.
Immediately after World War II, we found ourselves embroiled in the Cold War, a war we're very much still fighting 2 decades later. Imagine that you found advanced craft from another civilization while simultaneously operating under the existential threat of nuclear annihilation. It would make sense that you would keep those craft hidden, especially if you could reverse engineer them to use against your sworn enemies. So you give the specs to Lockheed, Northrop, General Electric, and other companies to manufacture weapons for you. For us. To me, it's completely logical.
Esther, have you detected any lies or deception?
One sec. Okay. Voice data analysis indicates no outright lies, but as you can probably tell, several interviewees are avoiding full transparency.
Maybe our intel was bad.
Or we're being duped?
There is that. Look, if there's been a leak or an epiphany, you'll uncover it.
Oh, and if it's too late?
That's why I'm here. You've got this, Audrey. I'll send in the cranky general.
What else could explain this phenomenon?
What do you think I'm gonna say? We're done here.
I think it's a combination of things. Some people are seeing advanced classified military aircraft. Others are seeing natural phenomena. I do think there's a spiritual component, but that's my personal opinion. And of course, others are just hallucinating. I do still think there's a compelling case to be made that we've been visited. That's what my research suggests.
Drug use, alcohol, mental disorders, weather balloons, frisbees. The list is long. There are no alien life forms.
Is it possible God created other beings on other planets? Sure, it's possible. But this is a spiritual war, not a cosmic one.
I have done research into swamp gases, ball lightning, advanced military technologies, many other topics, but I find these explanations less than satisfactory. Of course, hoaxes and fabricated stories are common, but the data clearly points to UFOs and aliens.
Feynman said it better than I ever could. I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong.
Thank you for your time.
I don't know who you are or who you work for. And yet, here I am talking to you about stuff that nobody is supposed to know about. Why don't you tell me why anyone in our profession would be vague?
Because the holes in stories get filled with useful misdirection?
And how am I supposed to fill the holes in this story?
What are you not telling me?
I think I've told you everything you need to know. Belief. It's a funny thing, right? You and I, we're free to believe anything we want to.
And you really believe it's more interesting to live not knowing?
Look up the Feynman quote. Comes in handy in our line of work.
Almost filled up my bingo card. Aliens, remote viewing, angels and demons, craft retrieval.
Don't forget about the misogyny.
Wild time, the 60s. What's the verdict?
I don't know. Something doesn't feel right.
That's the time change. Time travel scrambles the brain a bit. But hey, we got what we needed, right? We're not on their radar. Let them go on blaming aliens. You hungry? You wouldn't believe how good Mickey D's in the 1960s is. It's a must. Come on, you're buying.
Esther, that Richard Feynman quote, the one Riker referenced, I need more info on that.
Coming right up. Full quote. I think it's much more interesting to live not knowing than to have answers which might be wrong. It's from an interview Dr. Feynman did for Horizon.
Horizon?
Science show on BBC Two. The interview was part of episode 9 of series 18.
Esther, when did that episode air?
Sorry, this can't be right.
When, Esther?
November 23rd, 1981.
Oh, shit.
But, Audrey, how is that possible?
Shit.
What a fucking ending. Holy shit.
There it is.
That's probably been my favorite reaction that I've seen.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Oh my
Actually,
God.
OG, bring that back up. I want to show you guys something.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I got you.
Go to the near the end. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Shows all the actors. Go to the special thanks. Yeah, right. Okay, go back a little bit and then play it.
There we go.
Yeah. Right there. Pause it right there.
Ah, there it is. Oh, got Bad Thought
you guys to
Studio.
make sure I put you in the shout out.
I love it. I love
I
it. That's
fucking
amazing.
love it, Jay. Thank you so much, bro.
Oh, of course. I had to. You guys are super supportive, so I'm like, dude, these guys are always talking to me about movies, and we're always having a good time. Got to put them in there.
Absolutely,
love it.
bro. Dude,
That was
holy
fantastic.
fuck, Jay. Holy fuck. Okay, there's a whole bunch I need to kind of fucking unfold here. All right.
Yeah, for sure.
First, okay, I don't know why this kept coming to me. I feel like the
Mm.
dude, the heavy set guy,
Yeah.
with the, I think he had like a cardigan on,
There's a bow
glasses.
tie. Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
It felt like he was like trying to tell us something without telling us something, like throughout his whole interview. Am I
Yeah.
wrong by saying that?
No, so you're picking up on something that so one of the things I really like to do as a director is
Misdirect.
no, is I like to work with my actors beforehand to
Okay.
get them so that it's not like we're just like all of a sudden gonna have a relationship when we get on the set, but rather we start developing a relationship before we ever get to set. I don't do that with every single actor, but as many as I can, I like to do it with. And so one of the things I offer them, and I offered everybody the chance to do this as well, as I say, if you would like to write a backstory for your character, feel free and write the backstory. Now, I realize that when I say that is that it might not match the backstory I have in my mind for their character, right? But
Yeah.
what it does is the reason I like it is because they're able to take the character on the page and then fill in information that gets them to the place where they're playing that character as best as they can, right? So
Gotcha.
Jeffrey Bigger, who plays Dr. Townsend, he wrote a backstory up. He sent it over my direction, and he was like, why would Dr. Townsend be so negative about this whole time, right? Like, he's super negative. He's trying to shut down all the arguments. There's no such thing as alien life forms. And he goes, I have a backstory for you. And it's fantastic. It's this backstory where he says he was a psychologist who was helping U.S. government Air Force members deal with the things that they had seen out there. And that the government was telling him, like, you got to help these guys out, but you can't say anything about what you're seeing.
Yeah.
And so he said that, and he goes, what I'm doing is I feel like I'm really conflicted because I want to tell the truth, but I've been told I have to hide it. And I only made one note to that backstory. I said, I'm totally cool with that backstory, even though it's not quite what I had as the backstory for that character, but I liked it a lot. So I said, I only have one note. You also have to be getting paid by the government to not do it. So in other words, it's not just like, hey, the government told me not to do it, so I'm not going to do it. You're benefiting from the government by having this as well. But he said one of the things that he wanted to do was the tapping that he's doing on the table is actually tapping out SOS. Yeah,
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah, and that is because he's like, somebody help me get away from this situation that I found myself in, right?
I swear, I noticed the most randomest things, and that was
that's awesome. No.
Tones is very observant, very, very observant.
Yes.
I didn't pick that up initially, and we did a show together recently, Jay, right, with the cast and crew.
Yeah,
and Jeffrey mentioned that, and I'm like, that's dope, dude. I love that. I love that.
Cool. One of the things that's like the most satisfying thing as a writer director is when other people care about the characters that you care about as much as you do or more. You know what I mean? Like, then it's like, oh, this is a super rewarding thing to go through. So
now, what's the gentleman's name? The kind of the hippie style guy who's into the
Brett Darling is his name. But in the movie, his character's name is Cyril.
Dude, Cyril, I love his character. He brings a lot of cool energy, man. And he's the kind of guy, for me personally, like, in terms of my personal beliefs of like aliens and stuff, I would probably vibe with him the most.
Yeah.
Because I'm like a kid in a candy store with this stuff, man. I love it. I'm like, oh yeah, like they're there. They're not telling us everything. They absolutely exist. Like, that's my vibe completely,
Yeah.
So,
he was really cool story about Brett. So that role is written as an Asian male. And you have to be there's this because you guys know like my thought process about this kind of stuff. I like to have diversity in film because I feel like it's more interesting and it's more it's more challenging, and everybody has different beliefs that they bring to the table. So I just kind of think it's fun. Well, we were originally working with a casting director down in Denver, and when I told her I was looking for an Asian male to play that role, she was like, I only know of 3 Asian male actors in Colorado, so I don't know if you're going to be able to find that. Right. Well, we didn't get a single person who auditioned for that role. Not even one person auditioned for that role, but Brett had auditioned for a different role, and Maya Jerem, our producer, and Nathan Sheck and I were looking at all the other auditions, and we're like, we need to find people who we can call back for Cyril, even though they didn't audition for Cyril. And so Brett was one of them, and Brett just showed up and like nailed it, man. Like, because it's supposed to be like the kind of guy who like can't wait to tell you about aliens, but he kind of holds back because he's not sure if you're going to be like, bro, what are you talking about? You know, but as soon as he sees you're interested, like Audrey's interested in hearing more, he's just like, let me just tell you about all the stuff I know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. And another fun fact about that character, when he references MK Ultra, which is the same thing, Tones and I were talking about Stranger Things before, and Stranger Things is part of MK Ultra. The Church Commission did not release information on MK Ultra until a decade later, in the mid 1970s. So technically, Cyril has like an insider, is a source of information that he's working with too. So it's just like a fun fact that we snuck in there. Yeah,
that's sick. That's sick.
So, kind of explain the. I'm gonna skip right to the ending because it's fresh on my mind. Can you explain more on who the gentleman was who referenced that quote from 20 years in the future? Is he also a time traveler? Like, I'm assuming they said that they were, because he said we're in the same line of work. Is it someone that is in the same kind of, I guess the same company, works for the same company? They just don't know that they work for the same company.
This is a good question, Tones. Yeah, this is so I'm gonna spoil the feature film a little bit. Okay. In the feature film, it's the same setup where they have to go back in time to try and figure out like if there's been a leak or an epiphany. A leak meaning someone from the future has told them that time travel exists, or an epiphany meaning somebody just realized like, wait a minute, we're not dealing with aliens, we're dealing with time travelers. That's what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So they travel back in time to figure this out, and they're in the 1960s trying to figure this out. But in the feature film, what you learn is that in the future, 2147, there is a global government that's over everything. There's not nation states. There's just one giant government overseeing the entire population of Earth.
Gotcha.
And because of that, there's elites that have all this money and they're doing stuff that people don't like. So there's quite a bit of unrest amongst the population. And part of that unrest is a large group of people that they think that the government calls terrorists, and they call themselves freedom fighters because they're trying to topple the government. And so when they send everybody back in time, they send 3 characters back in time. Audrey goes back in time. Peter Rockford, who's the guy with her, goes back in time. And a 3rd character named Malik Booker goes back in time as well. And what we learn in the course of that film is that Malik is the one who's been leaking information to people in the 1960s because he wants to change the future. And if he can tell them that it exists, he can prevent them from doing things that gives rise to the government. So technically Riker's character, the one you're referencing in this short, played by Jamal Curry very excellently, he is an FBI agent who is not a time traveler, but knows about time travel, and obviously knows even quotes from theoretical physicists.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's where that comes from. Yeah.
So he's not a time traveler. He's an FBI agent who is familiar with what's going on.
He knows what's going on. Yep. Exactly.
I fucking love that, dude. That's so amazing. I like the first
thing. The subject matter here, I mean, between the aliens and the time travel, it's like a nerd like wet dream right here. It's like everything you want.
Seriously, it's like, which one do I want to be? A time traveler?
I'm gonna put that quote on the box cover. You know, we give people quotes. It's a nerd's wet dream.
So. Okay, my view of the movie, of the short film, was great. The ending it's so hard from watching more short films since I've met you, Jay. It's very hard for some of these short films to have a story and an ending and you be like, what the fuck? Usually it's like, you get the cool ones where it's, or the horror ones where it's, it's a pretty cool ending, or you get the ones where they make the point very quick, but it's very hard for a short film to be able to do that. And you once again fucking nailed it. You saw my face at the end.
Yeah.
You saw my reaction.
That was fun. That was fun.
Like it literally, you make it so interesting where you see the different perspectives. In my opinion, the perspectives that we saw, it looked like they all saw the same thing, but they viewed it very differently. They had different ways of explaining what they saw, and it didn't seem like they saw the same thing, even though it looks, or they're kind of telling us they did. So I forgot there's a word for it. It's like a different perspective. Like me, you, and OG saw this lady jump in the air, but we all will explain it differently to, Candid. Like I saw her jump in the air and spin around. OG saw her do a flip. Like like we all saw it differently. Am I wrong by saying that that's what they were kind of explaining, their perspective?
Oh yeah, totally. I mean,
what happened?
Yeah, because it's not much different than what we actually hear from people in real life. Right? Every single one of the characters in the film is based off of somebody that I've heard talk about this before, right? And so because of that, what you start to hear when you've heard, I've heard dozens of hours of podcasts from people who are talking about these topics, and what you can tell is that it's kind of like, well, I have a worldview, and I'm either leaving that worldview open to see what's out there, or I've found that like this makes the most sense in my worldview if it's this kind of thing, right? Like the priest says it's angels and demons, right? Because in his worldview, that makes the most sense. Those are trans-dimensional beings, and it makes sense that they would show up in this kind of format. So I think that everyone has a different point of view or perspective that they're sharing, but it's all the same data. We are all looking at the same data. You know what I mean?
Well, and it's interesting too, the angels and demons thing, because there's a lot of stuff that you'll see, like when it comes to like space, like the Hubble telescope will pick up these like nebulous whatevers, and they look like they look like a human eye and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And I always think about that, like, what if this is like a spiritual thing? Like, what if these kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Because you hear a lot about, like, he talks about it. Is it Reverend Alvarez, I believe his name
Alvarez.
is? Father Alvarez, where the spear with the eyes and all that.
And by the way, that's directly from the Bible. That's a Bible verse.
Yeah, it is. And actually it's crazy because I've seen people try to like duplicate that, like with like artwork and stuff, and they're kind of creepy looking. It's like a gyrosphere thing with all these little eyes on it. I'm like, that's weird. But it makes me wonder though, like out there, like, like with that's a possibility too. Like what if it is a lot more spiritual out there than we assume? We always assume aliens, we always assume all this other stuff. But what if there's like that spiritual component, like with these things that look like eyes, and this is weird stuff.
And we don't talk about this in the film, but if you ever hear anybody talk about their DMT experiences, right, or their ayahuasca experiences, a lot of times they will bring up the same kind of creatures that they saw, that other people saw, and then it begs the question, right? Like, are they, if our brains are manufacturing that and we're coming up with that, each one individual on their own, why would you see the same things? It doesn't make sense that you'd see the same things. You'd see something different, right? So it's just all of those things I think are really fascinating as it pertains to what this means.
Yeah.
And also,
sorry. No, go ahead,
OG. Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say real quick, it'd be like all of us having the same dream. It's not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, and also when you see something you're not familiar with, fear is one thing that comes to your or the emotion. Fear comes first most of the time, and fear plays a big part of what you see, but what is also reality. And you see a lot of different things that aren't probably there because you're scared for your life, scared what's going to happen next, whatever the case may be. But we see things differently if I'm scared and Jay's not. So there's that too that plays a big factor into it.
Huge.
100%.
Huge.
So my initial thought when I was watching this was, okay, it's black and white. Am I looking at it as if this is in the 1960s or where most of it was still black and white back then, right?
A lot of it was, yeah. There was some color, but a lot of stuff was still black and white, yeah.
Am I looking at this as if this is on TV or I'm watching this like it's a tape from the 1960s and it's black and white, but then we get a angle where she's talking to I forget his name, her like partner.
Rockford. Yeah, Peter
Rockford, where she's talking to him, and it's no longer viewed as like I'm watching TV because they're talking privately. So What was your mindset when you were like, okay, I want this to be black and white. I don't want any color in this. And what made the final decision? Okay, this is what I'm going with.
Yeah. So there's a couple reasons for that. Actually, there's like it's going to be a longer answer than you would expect. So the first answer is that there's a scene in Citizen Kane, which is a black and white film. There's a scene in Citizen Kane where they're all in a newsroom, and in that newsroom, one of the ways that Orson Welles shoots that entire movie is that he kind of wants you to be unraveling the mystery of what Rosebud is and what Citizen Kane, what Charles Foster Kane meant when he said Rosebud. And so he hides the faces of the investigative reporters who are searching for Rosebud. You're not supposed to like root for them. You're supposed to figure out the mystery kind of on your own, right?
Yeah.
And so there's this newsroom scene where all these guys are talking about like, what could it be with Charles Foster Kane? What did he, you know, and all this light is coming in and you can't see their face. It's gorgeous. It's an absolutely gorgeously filmed scene. So I want to do this other short film, and I'm looking at having it be a light play, just like that newsroom scene is, because I think that scene is. I'm seeing if I could replicate it because I think it's gorgeous. Well, as I was doing that, I was, for No Vacancy, Lucas Colombo, who has like 2 decades or more of experience being a director of photography, was our director of photography. Made it easy, right? Like he knows what he's doing. I don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's very busy and I can't use him all the time. And so I was like, well, how do we shoot films without going to contact Lucas Colombo? And this film that I had that I'm going to still shoot, probably hopefully next year, I'm like, I want to shoot this film, but it's too complex if I don't have Lucas. So I turned to my co-writer, Nathan Sheck, who's never DP'd anything before, never been a director of photography. And I said, what if you're the director of photography, dude? And because he's very technical. Like he doesn't like showing up on shows like this. Like he doesn't like doing that. He like likes to be technical.
Yeah.
And so he goes like, well, I guess I could try it. I mean, like, and I said, okay, well, a couple ground rules. Let's not have you like learn a bunch of camera stuff from scratch. You're going to have to learn enough as it is. What if we shoot it on the iPhone? And then because I was going to shoot this other film in like either really blacks with some color or black and white, I was like, what if we remove some of the complexity of shooting in color and just shoot it in black and white? And because it is set in the 1960s, that actually works for that particular thing. So it's a story thing, but it's also a functional thing, right? Like one of the reasons why we just shot around a table, literally the entire film is a shot around a table, is because I'm trying to remove complexity, because I would rather do something that I'm confident in that looks good as opposed to trying to go beyond my skill level and then film something that doesn't look good and it takes you completely out of the film because you're like, oh, that was kind of cringe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the full picture of why we did it in black and white.
And the simplicity. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The simplicity. Sorry, the simplicity plays to like the. I think when it comes to topics like this, right? Like it plays to like the audience's imagination, which is why a lot of people watch like Netflix shows all about the pyramids and alien abduction, because it gets you thinking and it gets you kind of like, and when you don't have that complexity and it's just a table and someone talking about the stuff, it gets your brain going. And for me personally, that's more fascinating than having like a big scene with a UFO or something. You know what I'm saying? Just for me. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. And I think too, to your point, I like X-Files, for example. People loved the X-Files. But if you go back, I started rewatching the X-Files when we were going to film this because I wanted to make sure that I understood what other people were doing. It's a there is action sequences, but it's mostly just the drama of like, what is this person experiencing and why are they experiencing it and what are they telling me? And it's kind of a police procedural in that way. So yeah, I totally agree with you. The imagination is almost always better than what shows up on screen, and if you can tap into that, then you're on a good path.
Absolutely.
Yep. And also you were, somewhat familiar with filming in black and white and with No Vacancy because you had that scene with that. So was it that, I guess, directing that in No Vacancy a little easier to do in Disclosure, filming that way because you were kind of used to what needed to be on set and what?
That is a great question and insightful question, Tones. Yes, that made it easier because, and if you remember those scenes that are in black and white, which are flashbacks in No Vacancy, one of the things that we were trying to do is, so okay, well, I'm a writer. I'm trying to make my own projects. That means that I don't have like endless amounts of cash lying around. So I have to be strategic about what I spend money on. Well, there's one really cool location in No Vacancy that we spent a ton of money on, but there's a bunch of other flashbacks that take place. And I was like, I don't have money to spend on cool locations for all these places. And we just talked about Stranger Things earlier, even before we started filming. And I remembered that in Stranger Things, one of the really effective things that they did was when Elle is doing her viewing. Yeah, she goes, it's not black and white, but it is a blackout studio. There's water across the ground, and then the thing that she's thinking about is isolated in that space, right? And it's super effective because you go, oh, she's in her mind.
Absolutely.
Right? So in this case, we weren't in someone's mind. In No Vacancy, we were, because it was Lee Larson remembering something.
Flashback, yeah.
In this case, we were not, but I was like, yeah, but I can utilize some of the same techniques we utilize to be like in a warehouse somewhere where they're being interrogated, right? And I'm like, I can use some of the same things I had learned in shooting No Vacancy, which, by the way, I personally believe that the scenes in Disclosure that are filmed in black and white in the blackout studio actually look a little bit better than the scenes that are filmed in black and white in No Vacancy. Personally speaking, that's just my opinion. But
yeah, that you could definitely tell that the difference in No Vacancy, you could tell that was a flashback because of the elements that we saw that was in color and what was going on within. And in this one, or you can envision where they might be in some bunker being interviewed for this, and then you get the little speaker next to her, and someone on the opposite side of the person talking, asking them questions about what they saw. So you could definitely tell that there's a huge difference between or you could, how can I say this? You could tell that that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a interrogation of what they saw. And I loved it. I absolutely loved that aspect, because you're not spending, like you said, you're not spending thousands of dollars on, these places where you have to get, filming, what's it called? I guess filming permission.
Yeah, permits and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So, you could, by the way, where did you film these things at?
There's a place, I found a blackout studio about 25 minutes from my house up in Fort Collins, Colorado, and it's a public media building. And so they said, look, get this is how cool this is. They said, if you pay to be a producer, as long as the set's not being utilized by anyone else, you can utilize it for free if you're a producer. Guess how much it costs to be a producer? $158 a year. This is nothing. This is the cheapest. It's so cool. So I scouted it. I was like, it is small. And I was like, this is kind of small. But I asked our lighting guy who had shot there before. I'm like, do you think we could light this scene like effectively? And there was one shot that we were going to get that we could not get because the room just wasn't big enough, and we had a gimbal shot we were going to do. When Lee Larson stands up at the end, we were going to have a gimbal behind her, and we're going to take a step back with her and then stand with her and then swing all the way around to see her face. Okay. And it was just like, I don't have enough room in the studio to do this. You know what I mean? We may have been able to get it if we were running out of time, so we had to stop. But yeah, it was a great location to shoot at. It was super cool that it was as inexpensive as it is, and it's just basically an organization that's trying to promote filmmaking in Northern Colorado. So it was awesome, great to film.
That's fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Did you go in with a set budget before you even found? Before you found it.
Yeah. Okay. So we went in when we approached Lucas Colombo for No Vacancy. Our budget for that was like $30K. And he was like, I don't think we're gonna be able to shoot this the way we want to shoot it for $30K. And so the budget eventually went up to around $50K for No Vacancy, a little bit more than that probably. But for Disclosure, I didn't have all that money. I didn't even have the $30K that I had to shoot No Vacancy. And so I said, we have $15K and that is it. I mean, my bank account for the nonprofit is like, it's very, very low now. And so we were like, okay, we have $15K to shoot with. Like, how do we spend our money? What do we spend money on? The biggest cost of No Vacancy was the motel set that we shot at. That was a huge portion of the budget. It was like almost 25% of the budget went just to that location. Well, on Disclosure, I knew that the lighting had to be really, really high quality because I'm not giving you much to look at. So the things you look at have to be kind of perfect almost, right? So one of the most expensive things was sound and lighting was for our gaffer to gaff that. But it was well worth the cost because they did a great job.
Yep. And iPhone, you said, right? You filmed on an iPhone?
Whole thing was filmed on iPhone. Yeah.
So that's a big question right there. What made you go with the iPhone? Was it just because of
it was because
budget reasons or?
Yeah. So the first thing was we shot on Red cameras, the same cameras that they used to make The Killer on Netflix. This is David Fincher, one of the best directors in film history, shooting The Killer for Netflix.
That's one of your favorite shows, isn't it?
I love that movie. Yeah, it's so good.
Or movie.
Yeah. And No Vacancy was shot on the exact same cameras that The Killer was shot on. Well, those cameras are very sophisticated. The team that shoots with those cameras has to build it because they build these cameras to be very modular, so you can add a bunch of stuff to them if you need different things.
Yeah.
And so you have to have like a whole camera crew like building cameras like the day before you shoot. Well, I knew that like Nathan, who had never DP'd anything before. First of all, I'm not a technical director. I'm not the kind of guy who's going to be like, oh, I'm going to shoot on a Red camera and we're going to use this frequency. And like, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy who concentrates on the story. Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
what you're saying is you're a story geek.
I'm a story geek. That's exactly what I'm saying. And so
love the plug, OG. Love the plug.
There we go.
You gotta have the plug. So I knew that Nathan was going to have to learn how to use a camera. And I was like, well, wait a second. I don't want him to have to learn like one of these most advanced cameras that you have to build out from scratch, like off the jump. Like that's crazy. He's not going to want to do that. I don't want him to do that. And quite frankly, I've been seeing how awesome the iPhone is to shoot with for like the last, like, let's say 3 years, especially almost 4 years. And I was like, I know that it's kind of heresy to say that like film isn't the best. I do think film is awesome, shooting on film, but shooting on film is crazy expensive. So like the reason why like, Christopher Nolan and stuff shoots on film, but like he's able to get the budget for that. We're not going to be able to get the budget for that. So I personally believe that the iPhone is to the point where if you get the right gadgetry to like build it out, it can be a very effective tool. Now, it's not effective for every kind of movie because some movies, like if there had to be a film with like a lot of depth of field, we do a lot of pulling focus in No Vacancy, which means you're focused on one thing in the background and then you pull focus to the thing that's in the foreground. We do that a lot in No Vacancy. You can still do that on the iPhone, but you require a bunch of additional stuff, right?
Absolutely.
So one of the things was, let's keep it simple so that we can film on an iPhone. And then Nathan is learning. He already knows how to use the iPhone. Now he's just trying to say, like, how do I make it more cinematic, as opposed to I have to learn a camera from scratch, which is a completely different thing, right?
Absolutely.
So, that was a big part of it.
So Apple, if you are listening, make sure you put out Disclosure, which was used by your product.
Dude, you know how cool that would be on Apple TV? That'd be
That's what I'm saying,
bro.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I'm tagging Apple right away. I'm gonna make clips and tag them. So I think one of the questions I continue to ask you every time we do one of these is, what's next, Jay? What's next with this movie? What's next with Disclosure? Probably not going to be doing the festivals like you did for No Vacancy because it is out on YouTube. You kind of educated me on why some people don't put it out on YouTube right away because of the all that. So what's next? What's next for Disclosures, Jay?
Yeah, well, a huge shout out to Luke Barnett, who you and I interviewed. And he and I talked about what the festival circuit was like and why you would or wouldn't do it. So what's next is I would love to get representation. I'd love to have an agent who can help introduce me to people and get me in the right rooms. And I feel like we have a award-winning festival film, and then I feel like we have a YouTube film that can get more views. And so the part of the reason for shooting Disclosure was and not putting it on the film circuit or film festival circuit is that I just didn't want to wait another year and a half before I could show people like what we made, and I felt like that No Vacancy already got me what I needed, which was people who are in the industry, like all of the people who I was just telling you about from the Top Shorts competition, they're all like amazing filmmakers, right?
Yeah.
Like, so when they say, when the industry says like this is really good, I feel like that's awesome. Now it's like, okay, now I want the people to say this is really good, you know?
I love
And like,
that.
yeah, and then if I can have both people saying that, then the next time I'm in a room with executives, I can be like, yeah, I mean, the industry people love it, but so does the general audience. And that's like the, you know, Hollywood needs butts and seats. So let's just
Yep.
prove we can get those. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think pitching to studios and trying to get some features made is next. And then we also have another short film that we'll hopefully make in 2026 as well. It kind of depends on if, you know, sometimes films are in development for 10 years, dude. So in the meantime, I don't want to be sitting on my hands waiting for that to happen. I'm going to make something else, you know?
Yes.
So I got that short film planned, but then I also got stuff to pitch for features.
Well, and I mentioned it on our show the other night, Jay, but like, I think this is really like, you picked the perfect time for this subject matter. There's like we're at a peak right now with interest in all this stuff. So I think that's going to get more eyeballs on this short film for sure, you know?
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. It's been doing pretty well so far, so I'm excited about it.
And one thing that I've grown to learn about you, Jay, is of course you would love validation. Who doesn't? But you're the type of person who doesn't need validation to continue to do what you love. That's what I love about the way you make your films is you don't it's cool. Validation is pretty awesome, but you don't need it, and you're having fun making these movies. Like Disclosure, it's not you know, filmed like it was for No Vacancy, but you're still passionate and love what you did with this movie. Like, it's awesome. So
yeah, I think for one, I feel, and this might sound cheesy, but I really believe this. I do believe it is something, telling stories is something that I've been called to do. And everybody has their own belief system, and you know, you can say you're called to do it by a lot of different things, but I believe that God has called me to tell stories. And so for me, by the way, I've tried to stop writing in the past. I've been like, dude, you know what? I'm just not writing anymore. I'm giving it up. Like I'm just gonna, dude, 6 months later, 3 months later, I'd be back doing it. Like it's just something that like flows out of me, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, and I will say this. I've had people come up to me. I'm not a guy who spent a lot of time on other people's sets. I don't work as an AD. I don't even like working as a producer on my own films. I do it because I have to, not because I want to. I love directing and I love writing. I love that stuff. But the arranging and making sure everybody's got what they need, and then, you know, that all the contracts are signed, and like, oh my gosh, that's like too much. So I don't love that. I do it anyways because I want to make film. But for me, it's like I feel called to do this thing, and people have come to me and they've said, I really like being on your set. I really like the way that your set is run. And I'll turn back to them and be like, I don't even know what you mean, because if my sets weren't run like this, I would not want to be here. You know what I mean? Like I'm not so like I want it to be a good environment where people are having fun. If it's a miserable environment, bro, like it's not what I do this for. I do it because this is something that feels like I am called to do, and I want to do it, but I want to make sure that when we do it, we are having the most amount of like meaning about it, and why it matters, and why we're doing it, and that kind of thing too. I think it's both. And so I appreciate you saying that, because yeah, I love writing, and I'm going to keep writing for sure. And when I have the budget, I'm going to direct as well.
Yeah, and we're excited, and I'm sure OG is as well, as see where you go from here, bro. Because obviously the short films is something that you're having fun doing, but I want to see what you look like putting an hour-and-a-half movie together.
That's what I want to, man. That's what I want to. And both of these are low budget films, so they're not like it's impossible to make them. It's not like I have to sell it to Netflix or something, right? Like I might even be able to raise enough money privately to be able to shoot them. I can't fund them myself; they're too expensive for that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see where it goes. You know, there's a lot of my friends who are out there doing stuff. I had the lead actress in our first film, the Star Wars film. You've seen it, Tones.
Yeah.
Marianne is an actress, I've known her for, I was a writer of the first thing that Marianne ever did, I believe, or one of the first things she ever did. And I didn't direct it. There's a friend of mine who was directing it. And that's how Marianne and I met. She just wrote and sold and starred in, she didn't direct it, but she did all the other things in a film that's coming out in the next couple weeks. So like,
Wow.
I have all my friends are doing some of the same things, and I know that all of us won't get to do all the things, but it's really exciting when we get to see each other doing some of these things. So it's like, oh, that person's awesome to work with, and they're doing this cool thing. So I hope as many people who really dedicate themselves to this get to make this stuff, because I think we need more good stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any more questions that you have for JOG?
No, well, I have one comment about that, what you just mentioned, Jay, where it's like, I feel like we talk a lot about on like Story Geeks and on OG55 and Tones, your channel, about like storytelling and what have you, and how humanity is a central part of that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like creativity is a central part of humanity as well. Like it's inside of us. Like we feel, I don't know about you guys, but like you feel more purpose-driven, more energized, healthier when you're creating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think as human beings, we were put here to create. Now, it doesn't always mean filmmaking. It can be a multitude of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But it's built inside of us as human beings. You know, we're creators.
100%.
100%. And for those who don't know, I've been trying to write for the first time for the last year or so. I kind of put it down because I didn't know what I want to do with it, and then Jay kind of walked me through some things, and also I wanted to try to finish it within this year. Like that was my goal, was to finish it within this year. And I think, well, of course, I've been busy these last 2 months with all the wedding stuff I've been to, but I've been in my head. I'm sure Jay does this all the time. Is like, what do I write next? Like, how perfect do you want things to get? So it gets your mind going, and that's what I love about creating stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Is like you're like, oh fuck, should I change the whole story and put this in there? Like that's where my mind has been going when I try to write this little short film script that I'm trying to finish. But I just love creating as well, and it makes your mind do some crazy shit when you try to create, and it's a good thing. Some people think, or some people have bad times with it. I have pretty good times with it sometimes. So, you know, it's just fun to do.
It can be a really painful process too, right? Because I think this is where I'm a little bit more on the side of being negative about like AI, for example, right? I said this on a podcast recently. I can't remember who I was with when I was talking about this, but I was saying the creative process itself is something that causes you to wrestle, you know, with whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. As you work this out, what you're saying, Tones, is that I'm wrestling with this story. What story is trying to be told? What story am I trying to tell? What's happening with this creative process and how I figure it out? That to me is the essence, that struggle of like, I want to communicate truth to people. I don't want to lie to them. I don't want to have propaganda. I want to communicate truth to them. And that struggle to find what it is, what we mean by truth, is like in and of itself a worthwhile pursuit, right?
Absolutely.
So if you give it over to AI and you say, make me a Wolverine movie, right? Like, I feel like what you lose is the thing that OG just said we were like all kind of created to do, right? Like, you don't give your humanity over. Like, yeah, have it help you with the special effects, sure, great. Have it help you with doing some research or whatever you're going to use it for. That's totally cool, but don't have it replace your creative process, because your creative process is what makes you is what makes your work. It's what makes, and it was what attracts other people to your work too.
Yeah,
So,
what makes your story interesting in the first place?
Exactly.
Yeah,
well, and that creative process and like human beings creating come with challenges and hurdles, right? And unexpected turn of events, right? For example, the gentleman, I think you said his name is Brett.
yeah, Brett.
Okay. You guys were looking for an Asian guy for that role.
Yeah.
Now, if it was AI, it would have generated an Asian male, and you know, but through that human creative process, you landed on Brett.
Yep.
You're not an Asian guy, obviously.
Right.
But he works out. I say he's fantastic in this, right?
Yep.
So it's kind of like stuff like that where it's like the AI will get it out, but it's not going to have that same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The unexpected. Yeah, it doesn't hit the same. You know.
100%.
Yep. And one thing before we get out of here that I forgot to mention is obviously you two know, and most of the people who follow me already know that I am a big character development guy. Short films, very hard to do, extremely hard to do. Yeah. So, and you get that within this, not just, you know, the two people, you get three huge like character developments within this short film. I mean, you kind of know like the mindset of the rest of the people, but you know three huge character developments that you didn't know at the beginning of the film, which you nailed, Jay.
Oh, thank you.
You fucking nailed it. And like I said, you know me, I love that kind of shit. And I notice little things and I notice little details. And congratulations, brother. Honestly, this is amazing. Not just because you're my buddy or my friend, and you know you put me at the end of the credits, but honestly, it was really good.
Well, one thing I have to say that we mentioned the other day when I was talking to OG is that when you watch each one of our characters, this is how cool it is to work with actors who care about their characters as much as these actors did. If you watch the beginning, the first 30 seconds of the film where everyone's sitting down, their character is almost articulated in the way they sit down. And it's like you almost can tell what they're going to say when they sit down, right? You can tell the general doesn't want to say anything. You can tell the psychologist, the Dr. Townsend with the bow tie. You can tell he's like, I'm really annoyed that I'm even having to be here and uncomfortable with it. Cyril, sits down and like he looks like he's kind of scared. I mean, every single and when Jamal comes in as Riker, he looks really confident and cool and like I already know what's going on. So even as they embody that so well. That like they're developing the character right before your eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so it's
100%.
Cool.
100%, and that's exactly what made it, you know, in my eyes, a good short film. So, well done, Jay. Well done, and congratulations to everyone involved as well. They absolutely did an amazing job. Jay, if you want to say the last words, tell people where they could find you. Also, again, where they could find the short film.
Yeah. So, and actually, it's people that liked it can do me a huge favor too. If you go search IMDb, search for Disclosure and then my name, Jay Sherer. Fortunately, I think there's only one Jay Sherer in all of IMDb, which is insane. Because some people like Josh Taylor, you try and find the right Josh Taylor, it's like 34 people. But search for Disclosure Jay Sherer because there are a lot of Disclosure films on IMDb. And you can rate it. You can rate it on there. You can give it a rating. So give it a rating for us. Hopefully you'll give us a high one, but maybe not. You're free to rate it whatever you want. And if you do that, that'd be really cool because then if we can get some more ratings on it, that's always fun to kind of see that as well. But you can watch the film again at How Stories Work with Jay Sherer. That's my channel. That's where you can find all the other videos that I put out there. You'll be able to watch No Vacancy on there come January. You can watch our Star Wars short film anytime you want to. It's been out for almost 10 years. And find me over at How Stories Work with Jay Sherer.
Thank you, Jay. I appreciate it. And everyone, I will link the movie. I will link his socials, and make sure you guys go follow him. I will also link the IMDb link to you guys can go rate it. I'm gonna go do that as soon as I'm done here for sure. Thank you again, Jay, for allowing me to watch it with you and talk to you about deep dive into what was going through your head making this. I had a lot of fun, and we'll have you on for Stranger Things for sure. I absolutely can't wait.
About Stranger Things. I mean, I will tell you, Tones is one of the most fun people to talk to about storytelling, and we had a blast talking about all of the Game of Thrones stuff, mostly more so the House of the Dragon stuff. But so anytime you want me on, dude, I'm down.
Absolutely. You guys will see him on this channel a lot more. And if OG finishes his list of TV shows and movies he's supposed to watch,
yeah, exactly.
He'll be on here a lot more. But OG, I appreciate you for coming on, brother. Thanks again for hanging out with us. Again, if you could tell the people where they can find you as well.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Tones. Always a good time with you and Jay. And thanks for having me on Tones TV. Yeah, you can find me here on YouTube, Orange Grove 55, talking about theme parks, studio, the corporate side of Hollywood, all that good stuff. These gentlemen are on my channel all the time. You can also find me on Instagram, Orange Grove 55. And Jay, congratulations, brother. And the cast and crew is amazing. So yeah,
thank you guys so much. I appreciate you both. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely, guys. If you guys can, make sure you guys hit that follow button or the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up, and like I said, go follow Jay. Go watch the movie. Go show some love. Make sure you guys set your notifications on so you guys are notified once a video is uploaded. We're gonna be doing a whole bunch of Stranger Things content within the next 2 months. If you guys are into Stranger Things, November 26th, Volume 1 drops. November. Is it December 25th?
Yeah,
it's like a month.
Yeah, it's the November date you said. It's December. It's Christmas, and then
Christmas.
it's I think it's
The
Christmas,
finale,
and then the finale is the New Year's Eve.
By the way, I will be going to the movie theaters to go watch the finale of Stranger Things. I think that's going to be amazing theatrical experience, especially for a TV show. I don't know if they've done TV shows in the movie theaters, especially at a finale, which I think is going to be fucking dope. I would love to see, plenty of finales in the theaters. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. But if you guys want to follow, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button. But thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Love y'all.